Welcome to the woods. It's nice up here today. The rain's just stopped and everything is very still. You probably won't hear any birds this video, and that's because they're all indoors. They're all under cover, because I mentioned in my last video of some complete debacle over avian flu, which is causing lots and lots of people in my position to get rid of their birds. It becomes not worth keeping them. It's too much work when they've got to be indoors. Some people haven't got anywhere they can keep them, and they get what they want. They get people becoming more reliant on the system and less self-sufficient. So just another poke, just another kick in the nuts. But I'll keep my birds, regardless of how tough they make it. And I think I find myself in a peculiar situation. Because of the way I live, which is rather unusual, I'm a step apart from most people I talk to. I don't watch TV. I don't read newspapers. I don't really know what's going on in the mainstream news. And I find it peculiar. I find the time I'm living in at the moment very strange. We've just come out of what is arguably the largest global event ever. And I mean that, ever. I can't think of any other event that affected so many people in so many countries globally. And yet, the psychological conditioning of the general public seems to be as such that it never happened. They want to return to their comfort, conformity, more than anything else. That they will forget what's happened over the last 2 to 3 years. And they seem happy to forget. Most people watching this video will be a step ahead of the general public. They'll have an understanding of what we went through and of what's coming. And what's coming is a whole new system. I've spoken about this for the last 2 years. And I've spoken about the end result. And it all looks rather dim, rather dark, rather gloomy. But I don't think they're confident they can pull it off. I think they're scared. And I think they're rushing things. What's happening in the UK at the moment, what's hitting the headlines, so I understand, what's being spoken about in Parliament, what's being spoken about in the circles I talk in, is the massive increase in immigration, which is changing the whole social structure of this country. and normal people, the general public, are now seeing this. Many of us, I know, have understood what's happening and seen this happening for decades, but the huge increase and the speed at which they've pushed this is now alerting people that didn't care or didn't see it. And we should talk to those people. We should explain to them that actually it's understandable that some of these people would want to come here. We should tell them why. We should explain that they're going to be housed with free food, free electricity, free gas, free money. This is the people that are here illegally. And at the end of their hotel stay in 2 years, they will be given a home. Ahead of all those British people that have been on that waiting list for years. We should explain that to people. And we should also explain why it's happening and who's instigating this. Morgoth's Review did a very good video a few days ago where he pointed out that this is no mistake. This isn't incompetence on behalf of the government. But this is deliberate. This is something that's happening because they want it to happen. It's hard work to allow this amount of people into a country. It takes planning, it takes structure, and there's a reason they're doing it. It's not simply that they don't care about you or me or anybody else here. It's that they care more about pushing forward with their agenda and their plan for this new digital system. A digital system where you will be allocated an ID. A digital system where you will be surveilled 24/7. Where any indiscretions will be punished. A digital system where all of your money will be monitored, every purchase you make. And if they don't think you should be making that purchase, you won't be allowed. A technocratic digital prison with no freedom. And it sounds depressing, because it is depressing. Everything they're doing is unnatural. They claim to care about the environment, but they don't. They claim to care about the people, but they don't. They want power and they want control. That's all they want. So the time for second guessing, the time for analysing is gone. The system as we know it is not going to collapse in the near future. It's collapsed. It's just that most people don't realise that yet. Each part of that system is broken beyond repair. The financial system, no longer viable. You can't run a system based on debt, where the debt increases, where you can magically produce money out of thin air. It's truly unsustainable. In my country, the health service is broken. It can take months upon months to see a doctor. It can take years, literally years, to get an operation. That's not a system that may collapse, that's a system that has collapsed. The education system now just pumps out people £40,000 to £50,000 in debt, and unable and incapable of critical thinking. A broken system. And the easiest way to break the most important part, which is a cohesive society, is to fracture that. And you do that quite simply by introducing thousands of people that cannot be assimilated and will not adjust their own culture. And we know this happens. What happens is you end up with a fractured, atomized, angry society that eventually will war amongst all of these different groups. And that's what they want. That will give them a reason to crack down harder, to impose more laws. Many of us have thought for several years that they've been waiting for those on the right to become angrier, to step out of line. We can see that they're implementing rules, regulations and laws for exactly that reason, preempting that anger. And as easy as it is to fall into their trap, I would say hold back. Don't accelerate this. We can't, at the moment, change what they're doing. But what you can do is refuse to comply. All of you need to refuse any more. No more of this. Don't be afraid to speak. Some people find it difficult to talk about the immigration problem because they could be labelled a racist. The time for holding your tongue is gone. For those of us who spoke out during the COVID situation, those that warned against taking the vaccine, regardless of being labelled a tin-hatted conspiracy theorist, an anti-vaxxer, a lunatic, we've now been vindicated. So the time for holding your tongue is over. Speak plainly to everyone who questions what's going on. And think about ways that you can fight back within the law. No more conformity. This coming winter is going to be very, very difficult for a lot of people. It was my understanding that households had had their energy bills capped at £2,500, and I could be right there. Someone else was telling me it was the pence per unit that had been capped. But I'm speaking to people every single day now who are really worried about how they're going to afford to pay the bills. And that is having a knock-on effect to everybody I know who owns a business. Because people are hanging on to their money. It's going to be a tough time ahead. We need to start forming groups to help each other. Locally, if you can. Online, if you must. And when someone tells you that they're in trouble, that they need help, we should help. Those of us who can should help. And together, we'll get through this winter. And as I said at the beginning of this little ramble, I don't think they're going to get what they want. I think the more we talk to people, the more people realise how bad things could be, how bad things are. So please keep talking. And don't worry, if you're in trouble, there's a lot of us, and we can get through it together. And when enough of us recognise that what's coming is not what we want, that these people are no longer interested in us and are in it for themselves, when we have the numbers, when we stand up, they'll have to back down. There will be more of us than there is of them. And every time they introduce something that's wrong, that's unnatural, that's inhuman, say no. No more. It's time now to be principled, to stand by what is right, and to fight back. It's all well and good talking online, but we need to take it into the real world. And I know there's groups pushing out there in real life. Support them. Get involved. In whatever way you feel comfortable. Take this into the real world. They love to see us arguing. They love to see us ranting online. Because it doesn't do anything. They do not want us to take this into the real world. And that's what we need to do. So if you can identify a group that's doing something in your community or nationally that's pushing back against this new world order, against the things that shouldn't be happening in your country, get involved. I think I'll start doing more. And I'll speak to you later, people. Have a good one.